According to World Atlas of Artificial Night Sky Brightness in 2016, more than 80% of the global population live with light pollution that dramatically impacts not only their health but also nature. Is our insatiable hunger for more and more light worth the resulting diseases and disappearance of more and more species? Light pollution is the over-illumination of cities and night skies by artificial lighting. It's caused by the abundance of light sources emitting light outside of an intended direction. Several types of light pollution exist, including glare, which is a disruptive light that shines horizontally. Light trespass, the unwanted shining of light onto nearby areas. And sky glow, a halo over inhabited areas, caused by the scattering of light particles. Impact to wildlife, migratory bird. About 50 billion birds travel around the clock during spring and fall season to reach their breeding and wintering grounds. 8 key routes allow them to traverse almost the entire planet. Birds migrating the East Atlantic Flyway rely on the plentiful Wadden Sea on Germany's North Sea coast. Millions of them rest, roost and feed here in spring before moving on and dispersing throughout Scandinavia and the Arctic. They also need this pit stop in the fall when they head back south. Many migratory birds take a break on the island of Spiekrug to replenish their energy reserves. Plenty of food for species like oystercatchers, bar-tailed godwits, little ringed plovers, and dunlins. Spiekrug is part of the Wadden Sea National Park, a protected ecosystem in the German state of Lower Saxony. The mudflats are home to up to 12 million birds in both spring and fall season. This national park is covering 3,500 square kilometers. The migratory birds that come to the Wadden Sea in spring have flown 4,000 to 5,000 kilometers. Many have flown non-stop for 5 days. It's hard to picture that distance and the body fat they burn as their own aviation fuel. Along this great migration route, which for many birds, having no choice but to end at breeding grounds, at another 5,000 kilometers north, there is only one point which has enough food for them to make the journey, while also preparing them to breed successfully in the Arctic.
According to Peter Sudbeck, at Wadden Sea, the birds are only here for 3 or 4 weeks in spring, depending on the conditions and their energy needs, but in this short time, they will gain between 50 and 100% of their body weight.
It's also impressive how migratory birds can optimize their flight routes and find their way across huge distances. They rely on the Earth's magnetic field as a compass and navigate by using the sun during the day and the stars at night. That's how it's always been, even along the East Atlantic Flyway. But animals are becoming increasingly disoriented because of the nocturnal lights. Coastal towns, harbors, oil rigs, even ships now light up the route. The artificial lighting diverts many birds from their ideal route. The detours waste their precious energy, and some birds end up dying at sea.
We assume man can see that an artificial light source is attractive and draws flying birds that can eventually lead to collisions. Birds used to collide with lighthouses, for example, but now they collide with wind turbines or other light sources because they're tempted by them and are diverted from their routes. So light pollution at sea should of course be seen as a serious hurdle that has to be eliminated.
When migratory birds fly under cloud cover in bad weather, they can no longer use the stars and moon for orientation, making artificial lights especially dangerous. Researchers can only estimate how many birds collide with light sources at sea that crash due to exhaustion. But studies on land suggest that the number on the oceans is estimated in millions. Light pollution, impact on plant. Researcher observation. Sabine Frank's photos clearly show that the branches closest to the street lamp are still covered in leaves, even though winter is just around the corner. The trees should have already parted with them to avoid damage from frost. The streetlights between the trees are clearly interfering with natural cycles. Plants react more to light radiation than to heat. The intensity, duration, and availability of sunlight give them the information they need to survive, telling them when they need to grow, absorb water, and drop their leaves. But streetlights trick branches into believing it's a different time of year. Over the course of many years, plants are like animals. They need a sleep cycle to process stuff. They put attention on different activities at different times of the day. Plants will get stressed out under artificial light. They get to photosynthesis continuously and reach an overwhelming state, which then create a reactive type of oxygen that kills the plant. Light pollution impact on humans' well-being is also compromised by light pollution. The excess light can overwhelm photoreceptor cells in the retina, damaging one's eyesight. Plus, it disrupts natural sleep cycles and causes sleep deprivation, leading to a number of health problems, possibly including cancer. Excessive light also influences melatonin production, which determines the sleep-wake cycle in humans, affecting our sleep at night. When our receptors on our retina pick up light, melatonin production is suppressed. We have a complex control system in the center of our brain. The pineal gland only releases melatonin again when it gets dark. Melatonin production is important to help us sleep and boost our immune systems. However, low melatonin production leads to tiredness, loss of appetite, decreased body temperature, and low blood pressure. This is not exclusive to humans. Almost all vertebrates react similarly.
Light measurement tool, sky quality meter. First, wait until 1 hour past sunset to get started on a night when the moon is not out. This kit includes an instruction booklet, a sky quality meter, a red LED flashlight to help protect your nighttime vision, and a planisphere to help identify constellations in the night sky. After reading through the instruction booklet, you're ready to begin. Navigate to your outdoor location using the red LED flashlight and identify the constellations in the night sky using the planisphere. Now it's time to collect some data using the sky quality meter. Position the sensor on the faceplate toward the night sky. Press the red button once, and the meter will begin its measurement. This could take up to a minute or more depending on the conditions. In your location, be sure to note the reading on the device, as well as the serial number on the back of the device. Then all that's left to do is submit your data on the Globe at Night website by clicking the Participate tab, and take a look at some of the data from other places around the world. Researcher Andreas Hanel, Lux Meter is another tool to measure the intensity of light. Now we will measure here right by the ground. Here we have 18 lux. It's relatively bright here. Half the light would be enough. Lux is a measurement unit for luminance. Even at 9 lux, as Andreas Hummel recommends, the sidewalk would still be about 50 times brighter than on a night with a full moon. The color of a light is decisive when assessing its environmental impact. If you look at the spectrum now, you see that the blue peak has a color temperature of 2800 degrees, and that's how it should be. The Kelvin unit of measurement is used to determine the general color impression of a light source. Light that registers above 5000 degrees Kelvin appears as a rather cold blue. A yellow-orange glow below 3000 degrees Kelvin is more pleasant to the human eye. Andreas Heinel's measurements show officials how they can improve their lighting. If you want to reduce the light, you have to do it on a large scale. In other words, it is best to do it in an entire village at once. Otherwise, you won't see the effect.
Mitigate the light pollution. The most harmful lights are those with very bright, cold colors and shining in all directions. They also waste a lot of power, trap insects, and dazzle passers-by. To mitigate light pollution, using less illuminance through darker light helps a lot. A warmer light, below 3000 degrees Kelvin, is much less harmful to insects and other animals. Secondly, the most important thing of all is managing targeted lighting. By installing shields, or using fixtures with directed downward lighting, we can prevent light from escaping upward and keep our night sky darker. Nocturnal beings will be less affected, and we can once again gaze at stars above.